Welcome to Trial by Wine. We take a closer look at crimes that highlight how fascinating humans can be. Schmidty, Swanee and Clarkey visit crimes and run them through their jury of three, debating both sides of the case to agree an appropriate, if totally fictitious, sentence. Please be advised, Trial by Wine may include explicit or disturbing content and will include drunken rambling. Listener discretion is advised. All right, how are we?
Well,
for a midweek Wednesday and wine.
Yeah, indeed. Any news? How was was it Beastie Boys?
No, brand new heavies.
Oh, I knew it was a B name, yeah.
It was a bit disappointing.
Wasn't what you thought it would be.
It was a bit, yeah. It was.
Is that because you were worried about your friend, or were they?
No, not at all. She was great. And in actual fact, there was a warm-up act, whatever else, which was kind of a bit funny. So we were able to have a bit of a chat and catch up through that. And her kids are very musical and do that sort of guitar.
Music shit.
So and they're in bands and stuff. So she kind of has interests that lie out, like things. She was like taking photos of guitars, and whatever, which I wouldn't, had any idea about. So that made me feel more comfortable. But then it just it started off okay. It was actually quite strong. And then they just lost their way. And I think that the band historically had been a lead singer and these sort of two main guys, like the bass guitarist and the guitarist. And they're the only ones that remain now. So there was, probably 8 musicians on stage. And the music was great. But she, at one point, I was convinced that she was looking at an iPad to check the lyrics. She didn't get any of the lyrics wrong because I know every single word. But there wasn't really a great deal of stage presence, if you know what I mean. She didn't.
Were they a studio band originally? I don't know anything about them.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. And the original lead singer had a really beautiful voice, and this woman had a strong voice. But I don't know.
Oh,
it was all sort of
she's a
okay. Then it just kind of got lost. It just sort of. They did a couple of really low songs, and I was like, "Oh God, you're gonna have to pick it up a bit."
Get the crowd back. Yeah.
And the crowd was like me. We were old. It's like on a Monday night, and people are probably sober on a Monday night. It was all a little bit. The odds were stacked against them. But I mean, I suspect the people that were down the front looked like they're having a ball. Loads of poms, of course, because English band, which was quite cute. Like we walked in, there were lots of tattooed calves. That's a real English look from that era with the tat on the back of the calf and whatever else. Now everybody's got tattoos all over them, but that was such an English thing 30 years ago. Anyway, it was all right.
Well, it was a Monday night. I mean, come on.
It was a big ask, yep.
And boys, what about you? Any news?
Well, we had a bit of a musical weekend. Went and saw Josh Cunningham from The Waifs and Amy Shark.
I dare say yours is better than mine.
She was great.
She performed here when we saw Coldplay. That's a pretty big slot, to fill. I thought she was great because I didn't necessarily think I had an issue, but I thought she did a really good job, and that was in an Optus Stadium. But good on her.
All right. Well, everyone had music on the weekend. What did I do? Nothing. Oh no, I kept moving house. I moved things.
Moving within your house.
Oh, no, I did something musical, actually. Yeah, no, I'm still moving out of the bungalow at Mum's house. So I was moving bits and pieces.
Jesus, that's a long move.
I suppose we should introduce ourselves. I'm Schmidty.
I'm Swanee.
And I'm Clarkey. And together we are...
Trial by
Wine.
Yeah, it is a long move, sorry, just to pick up on your last point, and that's because I'm doing it carload by carload. But I have nearly got rid of all of the actual little bits and pieces, and now we're down to furniture. And I had to make space in our house for all this stuff.
That's what I was going to ask. Why are you moving out of the bungalow?
Sell the house. Yeah, we're selling Mum's house and Mum and Dad's house. And
that's a big one.
Yeah, the whole, divesting of the family home and all that sort of stuff. But it's actually not too bad. I've just got to get my shit together and find room in our current house for all this gear. We do have this space underneath the house, but it's taken a while for my husband to understand how that was going to be utilised.
It's not you that you like to keep it there for bodies.
No, they're no bodies.
Oh, yeah.
See, I was thinking, Swanee, that the only reason she's moving so slowly is that she only takes a bootload back when she drops a body off. So she's burying the bodies in the backyard of the house they're about to sell and taking a bootload back.
I wouldn't even bother. I just put them in the cellar. I figure some developer's going to come along and just fill that in anyway. Anyway, what are we drinking?
I've got something new today.
Have you really?
Immediate interest.
Nothing. I totally forgot to get a drink when I was racing around. That's fine. I'll have one with our second episode. It's not a problem. What about you guys? I hope you're holding up the pile of bargain. I'm sure that you both are, given it's midweek.
We're on the bone dry rosé from the Pyrenees. 2022 Point Newer. It's actually looks more like a rosé. I guess Pinot Noir.
It's very yellow.
Grapes
from here.
It's kind of
could be the light
orange.
Orangey, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of French style for a rosé. So yeah, it's very nice.
Ooh la la.
Drink
Schmidty?
a bleu.
I'm drinking a Shiraz by Heathcote Winery. It's their HQ, which is probably their cheapest one that they have. Extremely drinkable and very affordable too. And I just ordered another dozen, which someone's picking up for me on Friday.
Are they coming this afternoon? Oh, thought you might have been getting an emergency delivery.
In fairness, I haven't had red wine for a long time. And
yeah, I haven't noticed you drinking red wine. What's going on there?
Oh, just because of the keto and
has
all the
it
rest
tickled
of it.
you?
No, I really haven't been drinking a lot. I tend to only drink when I catch up with you guys doing this.
Yeah.
But I did on the weekend. I had the band over from Legally Blonde to view the production because we never see it, right? We're up the back in the gods, so we never see anything. So, and they were like, geez, it sounds really good. I was like, thanks, guys. It's not like, I don't know,
not my first radio
sound or not my first radio. Yeah. No, it was very good. And I drank red wine for the first time in ages, and it reminded me how much I enjoy it, actually, although it also fucked me up, so I've got to be careful of it. Yeah.
It'll do that.
It will, especially when you haven't had it for a long time. So I'm going to tell a little story, and it's sort of related to, well, not really, but...
Red wine?
No, the band. So I've been very, very busy recently with life, and I have a few stories that I've been working on, but I kind of keep running out of time, and they're really good stories and I want to do them justice. So I'm doing something else today. And in this moment thinking, what do I do? What do I do? Because I literally pulled it together yesterday. I was reminded of on the weekend when the band came over, Faye and Andrew, who are a married couple, were telling, suddenly it came up in conversation about how Andrew had been watering the garden and he had discovered, I'm guessing somewhere in the garden bed, a human shit.
I'm sorry, who?
What?
Andrew, who's in the band. They live next door to a public venue. And they've renovated their house and the fence is down, I think, at the moment.
Oh.
At any rate, he discovered this quite clearly human poo in his garden. And we all had a little laugh about it. But he has said it's not the first time. It's happened before when the fence was up. So it's probably just to do with them living next door to this particular venue. But I did find it very funny. And so I used it to inspire my collection of articles that I'm bringing to you today.
Right.
Does the venue have toilets? I feel like...
Yeah, that was part of that conversation. It does. I've been to that venue and it certainly has toilets, but we think that...
A runner?
No, just very,
always
very
on a current affair or whatever.
Very, very late, early hours of the morning or late. So pub had probably closed.
What had Andrew done a poo check before he went to bed? Does he do like
He hadn't seen it when he was watering the garden earlier that day, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah. He hadn't gone, I'll just do my final sweep for the evening before I lay my head down. That's it. I know that he was like, I can tell you that it arrived there between the hours of 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. or something.
I think he'll enjoy that because he's actually a regular listener of ours. So I think he'll enjoy this conversation. So, yes, this one's for you, Andrew.
An adapted metal detector.
It's got a nose on the end of it. Sniffs it out.
Well, he said it was very clearly. And I was like, what do you mean? And it was sort of positioned in a place that you wouldn't have seen it if you weren't watering the garden. Like if you weren't
discreet.
Well, that's kind of them.
Yes.
Behind a bush.
They're not trying. They're not just going to do that.
Oh, I must admit, we didn't get into the greatest of detail about the phantom poo in his backyard.
Because I wasn't there. You would have if I was there. I would have been drilling
down.
It's not a
dump and run, is it?
Well, I think I don't know. It must have been a moment of desperation. I think it was a dump and run. But they've looked around and gone, where do I do it where it's not, like not right in the middle of the path, put it that way.
Yeah, not just drop them and go. I'll find a spot.
Yeah.
Consider it.
Let's see if I can make this look like it's a dog's done it.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll just
scratch them afterwards.
Do the back leg kick.
Oh, yeah, kick.
Oh, they're so proud of their work. Check it out.
Yeah.
Strut off.
Yeah. Okay, so first, though, I have some facts about the topic at hand. And if you haven't gathered what the topic at hand for today is, it's poo. So from www.fox.com, I have a little listicle for us by Joseph Stromberg. And it starts, everybody poops. Joseph must be American, right? Because poop is such an American word.
Yeah.
An 8-year-old American.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just people's like polite way of saying it. But here
Poop.
are 9 surprising facts about feces you may not know.
Jeepers. Can we unhear these, or are they
I
going
don't
to
think
be forever etched in our brain?
I feel like there should be like on the top of a list if this was in a magazine, like the subhead would be fecal matters. You know, like 9 top things. On the front of Cosmo or something. You know, 9 hot tips about turd. I don't know. It's like fecal matters.
9 top turd tips.
Yeah. That's it. 9 top.
You'd go 10. You'd go 10.
You'd have to get the alliteration. 10
Yeah,
top turd
that's
tips.
right.
Fecal matters. 10 top turd tips. I like it. I'm wasted. I could be doing this. I know.
Totally.
Up at Lake Eildon, there's a service that the other marina runs where they have a portable pump out station. A guy comes around with a barge and he'll pump your toilet out for you.
Yeah.
And they affectionately call that the turd taxi. So, you know, not too different. Okay, so poop is not just a laughing matter. The scientists and doctors who study feces, not a field that I would be going into, have found that it's the byproduct of a diverse community of bacteria in your gut that impacts your health in all sorts of ways. It is a shit job. Paying closer attention to your stool can tell you about the condition of these vital bacteria and your overall health. With that in mind, I spoke to Robin Schutken, I assume that's how you say it, Schutken, a gastroenterologist at Georgetown Hospital and the author of Gut Bliss. And the forthcoming.
I thought you said you would talk to her. You didn't talk to her.
No, Joseph Stromberg spoke to her.
Joseph Stromberg. Oh, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
Sorry about that. No, I didn't. But he's written it in the first person.
At Georgetown.
So I'm just reading his article.
Chutkin wouldn't return your call, so you had to go with Joseph's
correct
interview.
I tried, but Robin wasn't available. Anyway, about the gut bliss and the forthcoming The Microbiome Solution. A pair of books about the gastrointestinal
Fascinating
tract.
read. Can I just write that down? I might go
It's
and get
Gut Bliss, one word, and The Microbiome Solution. And both of these are by Robin Chutkin.
Right,
and
got it. Thanks.
So anyway,
Sold
she's
it all
talking
good
about
booksellers, surely.
Got to be on Kindle or I won't buy it. Gastrointestinal tract, microbes that live in it, and the stool that comes out of it. And it's funny because he doesn't actually talk about where the word stool comes from, but I do enjoy the word stool.
That's disappointing because that would be nice to know.
So here are some facts about poop that you might like to know. Poop is mostly bacteria, not old food. It's tempting, apparently, to think of feces as simply the used up remains of the food you ate, the stuff that makes it through after digestion. In reality, this stuff is present, but 50 to 80% of your poop, excluding water, is actually bacteria that had been living in your intestines and was then ejected as food passed through. Many of the bacteria...
The rest would be corn, wouldn't it?
We'll get to that in a minute, don't worry.
Okay.
Many of the bacteria in poop are still alive, but some are dead. Carcasses of species that bloomed as they fed on the indigestible plant matter you consumed, corn, then died shortly afterward. But it's not all bacteria. Your poop also includes some of this indigestible plant matter, like the cellulose in vegetables, corn,
fibre,
with the exact proportions dependent on your diet. Your poop also contains small amounts of your own tissue, intestinal lining cells that were sloughed off during digestion. And, of course,
sloughed,
there's water.
I think is the...
No, I like sloughed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Poop is brown because of dead red blood cells and bile. Your feces colour is the result of a chemical called stercobilin. Stercobilin? Anyway.
Have we talked about this before where I've got like a sort of a very vivid memory of childhood dog poo all being white?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
You never see it. That's because
you never see a white dog poo anymore.
You do. It's just people pick it up now, right? So you don't see as
sun
much
bleached.
poo.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's because people are more appropriate these days and they pick up their poo and
I
take
thought
it home
their
and put
diet
it
was
in the bin.
different or something.
Or just put it in the bin.
No.
No.
Big white dog poo.
if you walk around Sunbury, some people in Sunbury are not good social citizens, and they don't pick up after their dog.
No.
They turn white after a week, don't you worry.
There you go. I didn't know that.
You should do a test and leave one of your podcasting companions poos out on the front lawn and see how long it takes to go white. He'd be up for that, wouldn't he?
He's here right now.
Yeah.
Little Arthur.
No. Oh, no, he's a like... Oh, we don't want to go into
He's
that.
a perfectly normal, but if you leave them out for a while, they'll go white.
Have you ever run over a dried white one with a mower?
With a lawnmower.
Oh.
Makes a big cloud.
Yes, I have. Yes.
Yes.
Sister was so
funny.
lazy. When we were kids, she was so lazy when she was told to mow the lawn that instead of picking the dog poo up, she'd just pick lemons off the lemon tree and throw them on the lawn next to the dog poo.
What a
So that when
fragrance.
when she ran over the dog poo, she'd run over the lemon at the same time so you could only smell the lemon.
Oh, that's genius.
Ingenious.
Yeah, that's my
Laziness
wow.
is the mother of invention.
It is. Anyway, so your poo's brown because of blood and bile. You know, there you go. I'll just...
Yeah, when they say check for blood in your poo, I feel like we've been misled because if it's full of blood already...
No, so different kind of blood. So this is broken down red blood cells versus
like
fresh
semi-digested
blood from,
ones.
No, the poo that the blood you're looking for in your poo is fresh blood that's coming from a polyp or something bleeding in your
Tumor.
colon. It doesn't have to be a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
It could be a polyp or it could be I think that's what they're called, the little things that are growing.
Yeah.
That it could be indications of worse things in the future, but that's why they look for blood in your stool. But they're looking for not broken down dead blood cells that have gone through your digestion. They're looking for things that are fresher than that. And bile, of course, which is the shit that is the fluid that goes into your intestines to break down fat. Apparently,
and sometimes comes out your nose when you've drunk too much.
Correct. Or just
Yes.
your mouth. The ideal stool is a deep chocolatey colour, like melted chocolate, says.
Like melted chocolate?
Chutkin. You know our mate Chutkin? Yeah, it's got to look like chocolate.
No, but it was the
Like
melted
a
thing that you're
fluffy
picking up.
floater is a good one, not a melted chocolate.
not
one.
melted.
That would sink to the bottom,
floating's
wouldn't
not
it?
good. It's meant to sink to the bottom. We'll get to that in a
Really?
minute. But yes, your poo is supposed to actually sink to the bottom.
We were told always
Wow.
fluffy floaters.
No, fluffy floaters
Yeah.
indicate that you've got
Are
wind.
bad.
You've got a lot of wind because
Fluffy
it's the
floaters
gas.
are bad, okay?
Yeah. They are.
No.
Ooh, and you don't want to have pale grey or white coloured poo because there's probably something wrong, like you've got a
Oh, no,
clogged
you
bile
don't.
duct or something. Yeah.
There you
Or
go,
liver
Swanee. You don't want to
disease.
have white poo.
No.
No.
You've only
So-
got healthy dogs pooing where you are.
Colours of poo.
Oh, I think so.
Well, when it first comes out, it's fine.
Yes, I
It's brown. It
understand, I
doesn't come out
understand.
white. If it comes out white, take
Yes,
your dog
you've-
to the vet.
You've
right?
made your point. I understand.
Okay.
I understand. My 70s.
I'm not
my
happy
70s
about it,
My
but-
70s poo memories are wrong. Okay.
Public service announcement: yellow poo can be the result of a parasitic infection
What?
or pancreatic cancer. So if you have yellow poo,
It's yellow poo.
someone with pancreatic cancer, go to the doctor.
No, but is that a thing?
I'm going to have to Google it.
Fortunately,
No.
I've never experienced it because I have had neither parasitic infection nor pancreatic cancer. And here's touching Laminex that stays the same. Black or dark red poo can be an indication of bleeding in the upper gastrointestinal tract or of eating beetroot. Green feces can also be the sign of an infection. If your poo is blue, it's probably just because of blue
Oh,
food
it really
colouring.
is yellow.
Yeah, and people with pancreatic cancer, like they get yellow eyes and yellow skin and everything. Apparently men and women poo differently. No surprise. Because of anatomical differences, men and women's GI tracts work a little differently. These differences are so significant, though, in fact, that good old Chutkin says she could perform a colonoscopy and correctly guess the patient's sex without knowing it beforehand, which I think would be quite hard to do, a colonoscopy and not get somewhere near someone's junk to already know what their gender was.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big.
You
It's
just
a bit
lift
of
your
a.
bulbs, mate.
I know. Some hairy asshole. I think you'd have a fair
I'll
idea.
just I'll move these balls to the side while I shove the camera up.
Yeah.
I reckon it's a bloke.
Yeah, it could
Wow.
be. Apparently, women have wider pelvises than men. No surprise, given they got to open up and pass
Give
a baby
birth.
out at some point, as well as extra internal organs such as the uterus and the ovaries in the same region. As a result, their colons hang a bit lower than men's. We've got low hanging colons.
Low hanging colon.
Yeah, and we're a bit longer on average by 10 centimetres. Finally,
GI.
men have more rigid abdominal walls that help push food through the GI tract more effectively. All this, Chutkin says, makes the passage of stool much more challenging for women. True dat, right?
Yeah.
Food takes longer to transit through most women, she says, making them more prone to bloating. Men, on the other hand, are generally much more regular. So if it's that much easier for men, can someone explain to me why my husband spends 40 minutes on the toilet when I am a go when you're touching cloth kind of gal?
Maybe it's for the second coming, because sometimes there's a gap and then another lot comes.
Yeah, he does this whole I have to just sit there and let it all out. And I literally will just wait till it's touching cloth, let it out, go back for round 2, 5-10 minutes later. What's this just sitting there on the phone all day?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
He's got nothing to do.
Apparently
Bring back
it's
the old
not
days when people
uncommon.
used to have like the magazine, in the...
Yeah, it's
so
not
we can-
uncommon. I know many women who talk
So
about
we
men who
can
sit on the
spread
toilet
our
for a long
fecal
time.
matter all over the magazine.
the reading matter. I guess they'll have their phone.
I noticed the 2 chaps on this call haven't made any comment about how long they spend doing their motions.
I'm a 2. I go separately.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you got other things
I
to
haven't
do,
got
right?
time to sit there for 40
Correct.
minutes.
I don't get it. And also, your legs go numb.
It's actually supposed to be quite bad for you. I've been reading recently that if you sit there for too long, because people are sitting there on their phones and forgetting what they're doing, that the way the pressure is in your, I guess it's your bowel, not necessarily always bearing down, but apparently it's not good to just sit there indefinitely.
Anyway, now back to what looks good, boys. And this is your point about
It's a
your
chart,
what was it,
isn't it?
fluffy floaties. The ideal poo is a continuous log and sinks to the bottom of the toilet. Although
Tell that to our goats and sheep. They don't do continuous logs.
yeah, but they're not the humans. Although, what did I say her name was?
point.
Is it Rebecca? What was this woman's name?
Rachel.
Robin.
Although Robin Chutkin cautions that there's no single ideal poop, she notes that there are some characteristics that are a sign of a healthy digestive system and the microbiome. And basically, this is Bristol Stool Scale.
That's it.
Yes, which
Of course
is
there is.
created by the University of Bristol's Ken Heaton. And apparently, if you want a 3 or 4 on the scale. And a 3 or 4 is effectively, looks like a bit of a log, nice and solid and sinks to the bottom. If you've got little pellety ones.
Pebbles.
Little pebbles.
Sheep ones.
They're not great. That's an indication that you haven't got it all happening
That you're
correctly.
a sheep.
And then you get the next one down, which is like a little bit of a polywaffle with like little ridges on it.
Oh.
And then you can get one that looks a bit more like a compacted sheep one where it's like hard ridges on it. And then we get into the continuous log, nice good dump, sinking to the bottom. That's the scale effectively of the Bristol Stool.
What's the name of the
Wonderful,
book that
thank
you
you.
bought my children, or maybe it was The Mole?
Oh, whose poo am I or something?
No, it was the story of the little mole who knew it was none of his business.
Business. Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I love that one.
That's a cracker of a story. But we go through all the animal poos in that one. If your poop isn't perfect, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're sick, but it may be a sign that you're not eating enough fibre or that your gut microbiome isn't in great shape. The next one was number 5, gut bacteria and plant fibre are essential for good poo, and that was obvious, so I can't be bothered reading about it. Number 6, you can see corn in your poop because of cellulose. There you go, boys. The explanation for the widely observed corn kernel in poo phenomena is pretty simple. The outside of the kernel of the corn is made of cellulose, which is indigestible, but apparently we actually are digesting the inside of the kernel, which makes sense as to why people still eat corn, because otherwise why would you, right?
And then stacking it full of poo so it looks full when it comes out the other
And is that
end.
why we vomit it as well? So we
Probably.
can vomit, or if you vomit, you've had corn, it's in there as well.
Well, if you vomit, you haven't digested it, so it hasn't got all the way through.
Maybe it's been
So that's the
caught in your
difference, right?
carrot,
Okay,
your
fair enough.
carrot
Still won't
stomach,
digest, right?
'cause
So your
No,
carrot
okay.
stomach, your
you
separate
save
carrot and
carrots
corn
for
stomach.
vomit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrots and corn and peas sometimes kept in that separate little compartment just
You
for when
can
you
have
need
not
to-
eaten them
the
for
vomit
weeks.
vault.
And that's right, it'll come up.
And
Weird.
apparently people living in different parts of the world have different poo, and that's just to do with dietary differences, right? And baby poo is gross because it's actually meconium, so it's all that stuff. It's
Slops.
the amniotic fluid, blood and skin cells and mucus. And it doesn't really smell, but don't worry, they start to poo normally after a bit. And the last one, number 9, and I did see something about this the other day, which I haven't included here, but poo transplants can be an effective medical treatment.
Yes.
Yeah.
We used to talk about them
I
ad
don't
nauseum
think
when I
they
lived
can.
overseas, because they would say that people who were slim had the best poo because they were able to, like, their gut was healthy. They'd always poo, and like the joke was with my girlfriends that I needed a poo transplant. I was like, I'm up for it.
Well, I saw a story.
Which
I can't
end do
remember
they
what
put
I
it in?
They put it in
I
your
don't know,
mouth,
in your butt.
in your gut.
Yeah,
they-
see,
they put it in
that's
your
a
gut.
Do
hard
they really?
no.
So what they do is you eat it effectively, but what it is doing is
No.
introducing a healthy microbiome from someone
Yes.
else's poo,
Yeah.
those
Drink
bacteria
your
then
cult.
breed in your tum tum.
No, I don't want to hear
And you
this. No.
then you're better. Now I saw a story about a woman. I don't
Eat
know,
shit and live.
This is me like about 10 years ago. I used to be joking about this. Yeah.
No, I
Bit of a
can't
poo
remember
transplant.
what I saw it on, but it was a woman talking about how she was very slim
Yep.
when she grew up, and then she had some kind of gut problem, right? So she
Yeah.
had some kind of dead microbiome or something,
Yeah.
and she'd had a child, and the doctor said, "Let's do a poo transplant from your baby who has a healthy microbiome or
Ugh.
young person." She did that, and she stacked on like 100 kilos or something.
How much did she eat?
No, it wasn't that. It was to do with this poo transplant. And I wondered whether or not the reason she was the reason she was thin was actually because she never had a good microbiome. So she was never digesting food properly.
Oh.
And then suddenly she fixed that, and then she was putting on weight left and center. And I can't remember what it was about. I think she was getting it was probably some program about, I don't know.
This is a cautionary tale for me. I was all up for it 10 years ago.
Yeah. So
I was like, because I thought I thought it would make you slim, and I was like, I'm up for that. Just
You got to know
give me
your shit, Swanee.
need a poo transplant. Yeah.
Apparently,
Disappointing to hear.
they're currently working on alternate means of fecal transplant deliveries, like frozen poo.
Thank God. Oh,
Or
ice cream.
or pills that can be taken orally.
I mean, pills is fine. I can do that, but I'm not eating shit.
No,
That's a hard
eat
no.
shit and live.
I'm not, I don't have
yeah.
I don't have enough meth to go eating shit.
So no, true. So now we know a lot
They
more
would
about.
lap that shit up.
I bet they got healthy gut biome.
Oh,
Stop.
It's so funny because if you think back,
it's so funny. I mean, all you need to do is have a little bit of someone's poo, and everything's good. Sorry, go
Funny
on.
as shit.
No, but the way we talk about all of that sort of health now, that didn't exist 20 years ago. We were not talking about, we didn't use the word gut for starters. You were talking about someone's stomach. We were very much about gut.
What?
Microbiomes, gut health, all of that stuff, the brain-gut connection, all that stuff. Nothing. Now people talk about it constantly. But, it just wasn't on anybody's radar. It was nothing that we were talking about.
We're a bit more neurotic now.
Quite possibly. Looking for more answers all the time and more reasons to make
you're
just
all neurotic, worrying about your poo so much.
Yeah, should be right, I reckon.
You're right. It's not a fad, but it is a newish thing. Okay, so here's my next article, which is from Vice.com, and it's by Jamie Lee Curtis Tate, or Teat.
So what you did there, Jamie Lee Curtis Tate?
Taete. Would you say Tate? Teat? Teat doesn't sound right.
What is it?
Taete. Tate? It must be Tate.
Tate.
Okay. So the other day I found myself, and this is all Jamie Lee's words, not mine.
Jamie Lee Curtis Tate?
Yes. The other day I found myself thinking about a comment left on an old piece I'd written for Vice. I don't remember the exact wording, but the gist was that the commenter wanted to leave one of his shits outside overnight to freeze, then use that shit as a weapon to stab me to death. I don't think he liked her work.
What?
Which got me wondering whether anyone had actually tried to murder someone with poop before. They must have, right? I mean, people get angry and lash out with whatever they have handy all the time. And poop is basically a concealed weapon that we carry constantly. But I'd never actually heard of an instance where someone was assaulted with it. I've heard of people using their teeth, boobs, fists, knees, feet, dicks, elbows and heads as weapons, so why not poo?
Schmidty, you know that gorillas at the zoo would beg to differ. I have
seen it with my own eyes. I have seen a silverback shoot in his hand and throw it at the kids who were taunting him. And I saw it coming
to inflict damage.
And I got out of the way because I thought, he's just shatting his hand. He's going to throw it. And I got out of the way and this, I'm going to say, Greek or Lebanese kid who was like, at the gorilla, copped it right in the chest. It was fucking brilliant. Yes.
Good throw.
Oh, it was brilliant. He just did a little lean over with his hand around his back, and he kept the eye contact at this guy the whole time while he's shatting his hand, and then bang, got him.
Nice.
Back to Jamie Lee Curtis. I decided to do some digging, and it turns out my hunch was right. Tate or teat. People have
we should definitely call it teat. Jamie Lee Curtis teat. I wonder where she uses the hyphen.
It's not hyphenated. It's Jamie Lee Curtis teat.
Jamie Lee. So she might be Jamie Lee Curtis teat.
I wonder what double
At
hyphen,
the beginning of the article, it starts with just Jamie Lee Teat, but I noticed at the bottom it said Jamie Lee Curtis Teat. So I reckon someone's named her after Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously. So Jamie Lee decided to do some digging, and it turns out that her hunch was right. People have definitely tried to kill each other with shit. What follows is an almost certainly incomplete chronological history of poo as a weapon. Despite the fact that people throughout history haven't been too clued up when it comes to the spreading of disease through poop and other bodily fluids, there have been quite a few examples over the years of people using shit as a kind of primitive biological weapon. The earliest example I can find is the Scythians, a Central Eurasian nomadic people who were around from about the 9th century BC up until the 4th century AD. One of their specialities during warfare was the use of poisoned arrows. According to the book Greek Fire, Poison, Arrows and Scorpion Bombs, Biological and Chemical Warfare in the Ancient World. Too long a title, whoever wrote that.
Jesus. Catchy.
Fecal matters would have been fine.
Were tainted with a mixture of viper venom, viper corpses, human blood, and shit. The arrows, if they wounded a person, could cause gangrene and tetanus from the blood and shit, as well as other infections from the vipers. Even people who are not wounded by the poison projectiles suffer from their terrible odour, noted Strabo, the Greek geographer.
You would need a lot on an arrow tip to offend
I think
people
in the case
with the
of
odor.
the books, in the case of that book, they were talking about bombs as well. So I think you could be lobbing
poo bombs.
a poo bomb. Yeah. It's not just a poison arrow.
Right. I mean, that could be bad, particularly if it was a runny poo bomb, like a water bomb.
Oh. A brown water bomb. A little while later, during the Middle Ages, the feces of bubonic plague victims was flung over castle walls with catapults in an effort to infect those inside.
Oh,
how lovely.
How juvenile.
In 12th century China, a slightly more advanced version of the shit catapult was used, which Stephen Turnbull writes about in his snappily titled book. And I have to say as an aside, she made no comment on the last world's longest frickin' title book. But anyway.
But this one shows.
Siege Weapons of the Far East. 1, AD 612 to 1300. I mean, your point, Jamie Lee.
Excellent use of the
Punchy.
word colon.
Yeah.
That was me. Jamie Lee, you're right. That wasn't a very snappy title, but, I beg you to go back to the previous book cited.
To the first one, yeah.
The weapon, which the author calls an excrement trebuchet bomb, was a type of explosive device made from hemp string and filled with gunpowder, human shit, and poison, which was lit with a hot poker before being flung at the enemy. This tradition of people who lack options using their shit as a substance to humiliate and infect has continued through to today. Last year, the LA Times reported that there has been a 5-fold increase in prisoners at the Los Angeles Men's Central Jail flinging their shit and other bodily fluids, I'm going to have to guess semen or urine, at officers.
Earwax.
Good one. Snot. Inmates sometimes mix the waste with fruit jelly so there's a better chance that it will stick to their target, the paper wrote. Tapatio hot sauce packs a sting. Milk cartons are used as containers and sometimes as launchers to force the substance out through a narrow crack. Humi was a top-secret weapon developed by the Office of Strategic Services, now a defunct US intelligence agency, during the Second World War. Though the weapon didn't actually contain any feces, Humi was heavily inspired by human poo, so she's including it in this article. The actual weapon was a foul-smelling chemical that was sent to members of the French resistance in small atomizers. The aim of the device was to spray it on German officers in order to humiliate them in front of their colleagues by making them smell as though they were unable to control their bowels. Oh, was ist mein Handy? Imagine the worst garbage dumpster left in the street for a long time in the middle of the hottest summer ever, and that gives you a taste of the Who-Me quality. Pam Dalton, a cognitive psychologist, told New Scientist in 2001. Who-Me ultimately proved to be unsuccessful. Shock me. as it was obviously impossible to deploy a chemical that foul-smelling without also tainting everything around it with its scent, including the person who sprayed it. In 2009, Russia shit cannon Alexander Gorgievich Semenov, a Russian inventor with approximately 200 patents to his name, filed a patent in 2009 that was titled Method of Bio-Waste Removal from Isolated Dwelling Compartment. What a toilet.
Shit cannon.
I thought it was just a toilet.
Well, it's isolated dwelling compartment. It could be a ice cream container. It's just a compartment.
Oh, I was thinking it was more like your bathroom.
But it's what year was it?
A portaloo.
2009. As it was, what it was.
I'm going to go with what you said then.
It was a device that allowed tanks to fire human shit is what it actually was. The idea is that when a soldier...
At who?
Bad people. At the enemy. When a soldier in a tank needs to shit, they do it into a special type of shell casing which contains enough room for their poo as well as an explosive charge. They then place the shell into the tank's gun and fire it at the enemy, coating them in said poo or blowing them the fuck up, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope they have air freshener in the tank.
Well, I feel like the point of this is actually just to find a way to get rid of poo whilst doing your job. Because I don't see the point otherwise. Because if you fire a shell from a tank with an explosive device on it, it's not going to land near me and then just coat me in poo in some hilarious
shit show
or explosive from a
shit show
movie effect where, you know, I got covered in poo. Yeah. I would be blown up or at least badly
disfigured at the very least.
You'd be covered in shit inside and out.
Wouldn't be bothering me at that point in time. I'd be much more bothered by the fact my arm had been blown off. So yes, firstly, get rid of the waste from the tank. And then secondly, coat the enemy and their surrounding environment in poo. I'm sorry, how big do you think a Russian soldier's shit actually is that it's going to coat the entire environment? Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm cold reading this. Have you guessed? I'm cold reading this.
Yeah. Maybe there's a lot of tanks all shooting at once.
Well, there are a lot of people in the tank needing a shit all at once.
Arrows where there's hundreds of them in the air. Yeah, like, quick, everyone. Unleash the shit bombs.
And they all have to eat borscht so it's red because they don't want it to look like too bad. Yeah. Then we get on to 2014.
You're like a pooper trooper. Those Russian pooper troopers.
Pooper trooper, guns are gonna blind you. Yeah. Firing from a tank. So last year... And this article's written in 2015. A 65-year-old former nurse, Rosemary Vogel of Chandler, Arizona, was charged with first-degree attempted murder after an incident in which she injected shit into her husband. Her husband, Philip, was recovering from heart surgery at Chandler Regional Hospital when nurses heard an alarm from his IV pump, indicating there was a problem with it. It was full of shit. When they entered the room, the nurses found Rosemary fiddling with Philip's IV line. Upon inspection, they found a brown substance in the line. After being tested at the hospital, the brown substance was found to be poop. When Rosemary appeared in court, her husband came along to defend her. There was some psychological break that morning, he testified. It's totally out of character. Rosemary, who claimed she didn't remember the incident, pled guilty. The judge, saying he believed Rosemary had suffered a mental break that day, took sympathy on her and sentenced her to weekends in jail for a year.
What?
This is not the first time.
That's not okay.
It's an odd sentence. We might need to think about that for ourselves in the future.
Weekends. That's weird.
But it is sort of torturous.
She tried to kill someone.
It's sort of but then the husband's like, oh, don't worry. She doesn't normally try to kill me with poo in my IV line. Don't worry about it. And I just think weekends, though, like, you know, what are you doing on the weekend? Going to jail. What are you doing during the week? Going to work.
There's no work-life balance there.
Yeah.
I think it's a psychological nut punch, Swanee.
It's a very cruel punishment. I'm really looking forward to the weekend.
It feels like it lends itself to some kind of joke about, when you say depending on where you do your work through the week, that it's your Friday. You know, some people might not work Thursday, Friday. So Wednesday, it's like, oh, it's my Friday. But for it's like, oh, it's all right for you. I'm off to jail, but it's like, oh, it's the equivalent of
Sunday might become your Friday.
Yeah.
So Jamie Lee,
What a shit
back to
life.
Jamie Lee and her story, covers a couple of other cases of people putting poo in IVs or doing things to their kids.
Jesus.
The last one is there have also been other attempts in recent years to use feces as a poison that weren't done intravenously, thank goodness. In the mid-1980s, an outbreak of an intestinal parasite in Edinburgh was traced to someone intentionally putting infected shite, I feel I have to say
Fat
that,
bastard.
infected shite into an apartment building's
Fat
water
bastard.
Fat
tank.
bastard. What are we saying? Fat
Get
bastard,
in my
fat bastard.
belly!
Belly. Yeah.
Oh, you wee little bastard! Get in my belly! And in 2010, a teen in California poisoned her mother by putting dog shit and insecticide into her food. The mother survived, thankfully.
Imagine if your cooking was that bad that you continue to eat more than or sniff it
Oh.
and then go. I mean, I'm a pretty ordinary cook, trust me, but I'm pretty sure that if I served that up, they would be
Someone would
somewhat
notice it.
suspicious before that. Yeah. Oh, this is shit, Mum. Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
yes, it is.
I don't care. Eat it anyway. It's what's on offer. It's not a restaurant. Just eat it.
Ask Arthur for that. Thank Arthur for that. It's his shit. So that's pretty much her article. I did skip a bit of it, but I did think it was moderately well researched.
Just a shit bit.
And, well done, Jamie Lee, on your work.
Curtis Tate.
Teat.
Teat.
Let's say, comparison to Jamie Lee's work. Here's an article from That's Life, a rather excellent publication if you've got time to kill in a dentist's waiting room. And the author of this article is Jess Bell. The headline...
Jess A. Bell?
No, just Jess Bell.
You Jezebel.
The headline of this article, which was from January the 8th in 2020, reads, Horrifying moment, police arrest woman with poo smeared across her face.
Meth.
Oh, no.
Oh.
That's surely she's tested positive too.
Police have
Methamphetamine.
arrested a woman covered in poo after she was accused of throwing feces at her landlord. Body cam footage shows the gruesome moment cops confronted Joanne Mercada in Austin, Florida. Of course, it's in Florida.
Hello.
What a coincidence.
Yes, the 59-year-old woman had dried poo smeared across her face when cops arrived at the scene. How long did they take to get there?
Dried poo. Oh, it's been there for a while.
She claimed her landlord had tried to throw a bucket of feces at her in a bid to evict her after an ongoing issue, according to an affidavit. In the body cam footage, Mercada can be heard saying, she took the poop and rubbed it all over. But when pressed by police, the Florida woman then changed her story, according to local10.com. She claimed she'd meant to grab a bucket of water when she picked up the one containing poo instead. Of course, it happens all the time, doesn't it? The disgusted victim, a 65-year-old woman, the landlady, chased Mercada into the bathroom before a struggle broke out. According to an affidavit, the victim said she had gone to Mercada's trailer, of course it's a trailer, for an inspection when she was doused in poo. In the body cam footage, the officer tells the suspect, all I know, in a long time of doing this job, I've never seen anything like it, okay? I'm not disputing what you're telling me, but she's dripping with it. And you're not. Mercado was arrested on a charge of battery on a person 65 or older. So it's just lucky that the landlady had reached the threshold for that charge. Now, the next one is a story, again, yes, the theme is poo, which I seem to recall, and you may or may not have, but in COVID, there was a spate of this kind of crime that was going on. And I don't know, maybe I just had more time to watch TV because this article is actually from 2018, but I feel like this was a thing in COVID. The article is actually about how Brisbane's poo jogger was caught by residents.
Yeah.
But we had this in Melbourne.
Victoria.
We had a couple of serial...
there's been more than one. They
killers.
always end up on the equivalent of like a current affair. I always see the ads for it. It's like... And everyone's trying to identify it. It's usually some like middle-aged woman or something like that you wouldn't expect to be the mystery killer.
I can understand getting
and
caught short on occasion, but these are people
but
who
not
do it
going
all
back
the
to
time.
running
No.
too.
Yeah.
No, they go and they go
Yeah.
to the same place and it's doesn't. Yeah, I totally agree.
To Andrew's house.
Yeah, to Andrew's house.
Once you're on the shit list, it's hard to get off
Now
it.
that you mention it, there may have been toilet paper involved because what I was going to say is the photos, which I don't have on me now, but I looked at them earlier when I put this together, the photos of the man who gets caught by Brisbane's poo sleuths, had toilet paper in his hand. So it's planned. It's premeditated poo. It's not sorry.
Well, that's not – no, he knows he's going to go somewhere, not necessarily there, but he's packed the paper.
No, what I got from the gist of this story was actually – this story that I'm telling you was actually about the man who got caught resigning from his job. It's not about the pooing itself, although they do talk a bit about it. So I'll just read it to you and see where we go.
Okay.
Brisbane's poo jogger has resigned from his national role at a retirement company amid a storm of controversy that has sparked extraordinary worldwide interest. Poor fucker. Andrew Douglas McIntosh, 64, was revealed to be the jogger caught defecating on a pathway at a Greenslopes apartment complex on Logan Road after he was photographed in a local sting that was part of a widening phenomenon of everyday people using technology to solve crimes, the Courier Mail reports. Within hours of the story's publication in the Courier Mail on Thursday, McIntosh had resigned from his national role at a retirement village giant, Aveo. He had been charged with public nuisance relating to just one incident, but that will now be dropped from court after he elected to pay a $378 fine that carries no conviction.
Oh.
A random number.
64 jogging. Good on him.
Yeah. While police had charged
You
McIntosh, it was browned off Greenslopes residents who successfully flushed out the culprit.
Browned off?
Flushed out
off.
the culprit, yeah. Cyber investigator Simon Smith.
clever.
How many times had he done it, Schmidty?
Well, I think
Several.
we kind of get onto it. It's just happening all the time, I think. Cyber investigator
Okay,
Simon
it is,
Smith
okay.
said amateur sleuthing was a growing trend thanks to advances in technology and plummeting prices. The average person is a little bit more savvy and they kind of investigate things themselves, he said. Yeah, sure, Simon. It's actually getting justice for a lot of people. From a crime perspective, it has helped. If you see an incident, it's well worth recording it because there are situations where the truth is not always said in court. And that's true too, because we were talking about that the other day with the case of the girls in Delphi where one of them filmed the guy who ended up, we think, being the murderer. That was exactly what Greenslopes resident Steve was thinking when he teamed up with a neighbour to catch the poo jogger. After wildly guessing at the timing of the dirty deeds, to your point earlier, Carla, about did Andrew do a poo perimeter sweep before he went to bed?
Yeah.
How did he know what time this happened? Did he give it a prod and it hardened up? Did it have a bit of a casing on the outside or was it still stock?
Rigor mortis.
Did rigor set in or liver set in or was it still warm and steaming in the moonlight?
By the number of flies on it.
Yeah, true. The entomology has a lot to do with it. That's right. They wildly guessed at the timing of the dirty deeds that were happening, and then the duo brought a wireless night vision camera with motion sensors designed to capture elusive wildlife.
Jesus.
And in this case, they captured something else. The technology would have cost thousands of dollars a decade ago, but now can be sourced for less than $200 online. I feel like this is an ad for surveillance stuff.
Shame gum.
Yeah.
The blurry images, so for $200 it doesn't give you high def, gave them a timeline. The Dawn detectives then hopped in their cars and parked at various locations around Greenslopes to keep tabs on the runner. To start with, it was trying to ID him, so we'd go for a little drive, then park. Did he run past? Where did he go? Steve explained. Through a process of elimination, we figured out the route where he was running and we narrowed it down to where he lived. We followed him home, is what I'm reading. Less than a kilometre away, it would turn out. It was just now about getting a good photo, Steve said. I said to my neighbour, don't approach the police yet. Let me get a clear photo so when you go to them, it's all laid out for them. After 6 days of waiting, 6 days of waiting for that Kodak moment, Steve snapped off a shot, which has now been seen by millions of eyes worldwide. It's got pretty crazy, Steve said about reaction to the story. He said it was disappointing to hear McIntosh had left his job, but his behaviour had been not pleasant at all. If it was once or twice, I would kind of just shrug it off, but it was just so blatant and regular, he said. The Brisbane City Council said McIntosh had resigned from its Inclusive Brisbane Board, which advises on planning and infrastructure. In a statement, Aveo said it only became aware of the issue.
I think he could have got a toilet installed instead of
on Wednesday.
Whatever else he was working on.
I know, he was planning an infrastructure. We really need a public toilet about a kilometre from where I live.
Right?
Because otherwise I'm just going to keep shitting in someone's front yard. Yeah. He resigned. Aveo Group is distressed and disappointed at the alleged incidents concerning Mr. McIntosh. He has tendered his resignation to the company today and is no longer an employee of Aveo Group. Aveo will continue to extend its support to Mr. McIntosh for help that he may require. And that was originally published as How the Pooparazzi Busted the Bogger Jogger.
Oh.
The bogger jogger.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And now I've got just one small little bite-sized nugget for you.
Before you do that, if he was to poo in public but take a poo bag and pick it up after himself.
Not a problem.
Like a doll.
No harm, no foul. Yeah, like if you...
As long as you're not, flashing your bits at people, that's just...
Oh, I mean, that's a different crime.
Yes. Indecent exposure is one thing, but, getting caught short and picking it up with a dog bag I think is fine. It's the leaving. It's the littering.
Ah, yeah.
It's all a bit disgusting.
It's not good for the dog. It's not good for you.
Not good for anyone.
Bogger jogger.
So I can't remember where I got this from, and I don't think it matters. Oh, no, I do. The Australian. I got this from The Australian, this next one. This is a short story from 2011, and don't know who wrote it, but it says, Swedish police solved a real poo-dunnit by tracing 2 robbers via their excrement.
Oh, God.
The crooks answered the call of nature outside a farm close to Vara, central Sweden, before breaking in and tying up the owner, the local reported today. They made off with 10,000 krona in cash, tools and a car belonging to strawberry grower Elof Dahlen. But while the pair made sure to torch the vehicle, they fouled up by forgetting to scoop up their poop. Detectives soon stumbled across the excrement and were able to extract DNA from it, the Swedish news website said. The 2 robbers and an accomplice were eventually traced back to February's raid and arrested. I'm guessing just the one person who shat was caught and then they connected them.
Oh, it was good. 3 individual stool samples.
They were charged yesterday.
And left them all together in one toilet without flushing?
Not in a toilet. They shat in the yard.
Oh,
it was at a strawberry farm and they shat in the yard.
Okay.
Yeah. They were charged yesterday with a variety of offences. Mr. Dahlen told I don't know why I'm even going to try and say this, but the Nya Lidköpings Tidningen newspaper, and no, that's not how it's said, but
Perfect.
Police have done a fantastic job in cleaning up the crime. And there you go, guys. That is my poop a lot for you today. Yes. That's what happens when I have to pull something together quickly and poop is on my mind.
Very good.
Monday I had poop on my mind.
It's true. Did you ever have anyone use the word, I remember poop as being an American sort of word, but poop?
Yeah, poop. Yeah.
Poop sounds like from in the 80s, sounds like someone did a poop.
Yeah, poop.
You never hear that anymore.
Kaka.
Oh, that was very big in Wollongong. So it's very European. Is that sort of like Italian and whatever who would say kaka?
It's Italian, yeah. So
Kakadax
was pretty much a derivative of kaka. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, any thoughts, I don't know, about sentencing?
I'm a bit unhappy about that lady getting weekend work.
I thought that was weird, wasn't it?
Poo murder.
Every weekend for poo murder.
What?
I think you should just go to jail.
You tried to kill
for 6
someone.
months. You tried to kill your husband.
I mean, you're clearly not very good at it. At least go to a psychological institution.
Yeah, well, something better than just pop into the prison every weekend for a year.
I have a host of like poo stories that I know from friends, and so I don't know any of them. I don't know them firsthand, but they were so infamous that I've probably heard them 30, 40 years ago repeated 20, 30 times. And yeah, there was one when I was at uni where a guy pooed on the floor because he was drunk, and then someone picked up and thought it was a burnt sausage and threw it out the window of the residence, like 3 stories up the residence windows.
What?
When someone else walked in and thought it was a burnt sausage.
Either way, why would you throw a burnt sausage out the window?
With the consistency of melted chocolate, was it a healthy one?
I presume it was
like
a hard
good
one. I think it must have been done the night before.
But it was a sausage.
I think it snapped it off.
Yeah. But it was the right consistency.
Yeah.
It was a log. It was a nice sausage-shaped log.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when I was at uni. And there was another one that was connects to the same girl, actually. And I don't know if...
I can't get past the burnt sausage, though.
Had pooed somewhere and then used a towel to wipe his bum or something, having got shit on a towel. So he tried to flush the towel. And the towel, like, totally so did a runner, and like he was having sex with the daughter or whatever. So he ended up doing a runner. So when the poor girl was left to explain to her parents that she'd brought a boy home, and that the reason the toilet,
it's not my poo, not my towel. Yeah. Jeepers.
Any other thoughts?
I mean, it was kind of entertaining. Poo jokes are somehow funny.
Of course, poo's funny. It's the great leveler. We all do it.
We'll do it. I know.
Yeah. I'm not sure about
trying to kill someone with it,
jogger.
Though. Yeah, no, I think that's a bit rude. What are you not sure about?
Yeah.
Oh, it's the regularity of it. You know, you can be caught out once, possibly twice, but to be doing it, I mean, if you've got people stalking you for 6 days trying to get the perfect photo.
That means you didn't poo.
And that's weird.
Every day for 6 days, though.
No, but that's weird that they're doing.
Weird too.
God, I mean, I would
call that stalking, and there's no repercussion on them. The other thing I find weird about it is, like, it's kind of ruined that man's life. He's given up his job. He's resigned from the council. Is it an overreaction, the whole thing?
Planning and infrastructure, that's on you, mate.
Do you know how hard it is to get a public toilet built somewhere?
I feel like if you were trying to, though, he'd be the one you'd be talking to. So
yeah, probably.
He's got to be able to pull some strings.
Pull a chain. And on that note, as we say every week, miss you already.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ta-ta.
Thanks for listening to Trial by Wine. You can contact us at trialbywine@gmail.com. Please rate, review and subscribe to Trial by Wine on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to support us, you can become a patron at www.patreon.com, Trial by Wine, or visit our website www.trialbywine.com to donate to us. Your support will help us cover many more cases and apply wacky sentences. We really appreciate you listening and hope you tell everyone about us. Our cover art is by John Christo and music is by Beauchamp from pixabay.com.